Hello everyone, welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I'm Uyi Agmofwegbe. As always, we would like to remind you that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has filed a $1 billion suit against the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, at the Federal High Court in Abuja, alleging an unlawful invasion and search of his residence. El-Rufai is challenging the validity of a February 4 search warrant issued by the FCT Chief Magistrate, asking the court to declare it null and void. He argues that the warrant lacked specificity, contained drafting errors, and was overly broad and violated his constitutional right to privacy under Section 37 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has inaugurated a special legal team to challenge the results of Saturday's election held across the area councils of the Federal Capital Territory. As declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, candidates of All Progressives Congress won 5 of the 6 chairmanship seats in the council elections. The APC won the Abuja Municipal Area Council, Abaji, Buhari, Kwali, and Kuje, while the PDP secured the chairmanship seats in Gwagwalada. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has commended residents for ensuring the successful conduct of the just concluded FCT Area Council election. Wike gave the commendation while addressing journalists at the end of the exercise. Kabir Hassan has details.
According to the minister, the orderly conduct of voters and the absence of violence reflect residents' commitment to democracy and good governance. He noted that the process demonstrated the growing confidence of citizens in the democratic system.
The peaceful conduct of the election is a testament to the commitment of the people of Federal Capital Territory to democracy and good governance.
The minister further stated the outcome of the election represents the will of the people and a vote of confidence in the leadership of the territory. He urged residents to remain supportive as the administration continues its development agenda.
This election is a reflection of the president's vision and leadership, and a testimony that the New Hope agenda has brought optimism and confidence to the people of the FCT. As an administration, we pledge to continue to deliver the dividends of democracy to FCT residents in accordance with the New Hope agenda of Mr. President.
The minister also commended the Independent National Electoral Commission and security agencies for ensuring smooth and heat-free exercise across the Federal Capital Territory. Residents described the election as generally peaceful and well coordinated. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV News.
Many thanks to you, Kabir. Low voter turnout has again raised concerns over Nigeria's electoral credibility. Observers report thin crowds at polling units in the FCT, Kano, and Rivers during the just concluded elections, a trend experts link to declining confidence in politicians and the voting process. Global Television correspondent Zerao Nasiru spoke to some citizens on factors responsible for voter apathy.
In the recent elections, many eligible voters stayed home, while some youths used the election day playing football or engaged in other activities. Citizens say repeated unfulfilled promises by politicians have left them frustrated and disillusioned, indicating that voting has little impact on their lives.
The political apathy was just as a result of the preconceived notion of people that the election is decided. Why do they need to go and vote? And it's just lack of confidence in the political situation of the country.
Observe the elections, you know. Yes, the issue of the Nigerians have lost confidence. They have. But there's one thing I know, the party agents, a lot of the party agents I talked to, they actually say that people in FCT do not take the area council election serious. That's one thing, that they usually do not take it serious like the presidential election. And there's also one thing I noticed in the area council election in FCT, there was not as much awareness. A lot of people didn't even know, you understand, what kind of election is going on, even who are the aspirants. They don't know anything because there was not as much jingles.
Analysts say Unless confidence in the electoral process is restored, political apathy may continue to keep millions away from the ballot boxes.
By the time they are being elected, you will never see them in their constituency again. You will not see them. So it's part of people are fed up. That's why many of them did not go to vote again.
The voter apathy, what lead to why people refuse to come out to vote on the election? One, people were not so much impressed by the present government. The hardship is that insecurity all over the place, and most voters feel when they come out to vote, most times their vote is not well counted.
As the nation looks toward 2027, the challenge remains how to rebuild trust and encourage Nigerians to take their civic responsibility seriously. Zahra Unasr, reporting for Global TV.
Thank you, Zirao. The All Progressives Congress, APC, in Benue State is facing one of its deepest internal crises following the conclusion of parallel world congresses organized by factions loyal to Governor Hassan Thalia and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. The exercises conducted across the state's 23 local government areas produced separate sets of world executives, cementing the divide that threatens the party's cohesion ahead of the 2027 elections. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation Alliance Camp, led by Comrade Austin Agada, announced that the existing world executives were reaffirmed for another 4-year term. Troops of the Nigerian Army's 8th Division have fought an ambush targeting the General Officer Commanding GOC Major General Benga Kugna in Kebbi State. The attack occurred near Mayama Hill as he was en route to visit frontline troops. Suspected Lakurawa terrorists opened heavy fire on the convoy, but soldiers repelled the assault, killing 5 attackers while others fled with gunshot wounds. After the clash, troops conducted a sweep of the area, recovering several weapons and ammunition, thwarting what authorities described as a coordinated attempt to target military leadership in the Northwest. Lagos State chapter of the Joint Health Sector Unions, JOHESU, has suspended its strike following the intervention of the Lagos State House of Assembly. The decision was announced at the weekend in a statement signed by the union's Lagos State Secretary, Kabiawu Bolahon, who said the suspension followed extensive consultations, with relevant stakeholders and labor bodies. According to the statement, the leadership of JOHESU reached the decision after engagements involving the Nigeria Labour Congress, Trade Union Congress, the Joint Negotiating Council, JNC, and other professional groups, alongside what the union called the timely and decisive intervention of the state legislature. And now to other stories. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has inspected ongoing drainage, sewer, and access road works around the World Trade Center in Abuja, as well as the Abuja Metro Rail Corridor. This is part of efforts to tackle flooding and traffic congestion in one of the capital's most strategic districts. The inspection focused on infrastructure serving Abuja's main government and commercial hub, an area that hosts federal offices, corporate headquarters, and diplomatic missions, and which experiences heavy daily movement of workers, residents, and visitors. Persistent flooding during the rainy season and traffic bottlenecks along key access routes have in recent years disrupted movements and business activities. The federal government has intensified efforts to reposition Nigeria's agricultural insurance sector through a strategic partnership with the National Insurance Commission. Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Abdullahi, disclosed this during a meeting with NICOM's Chief Executive Officer, Olusegun Omoshehin, in Abuja, where he stated that stronger collaboration would foster and fast-track reforms, promote inclusivity, and boost productivity across the agricultural value chain. The minister explained that the partnership would leverage the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025 to modernize agricultural insurance, and align policies under President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. In his remarks, Olusegun Omoseyin reaffirmed NICON's commitment to deepening policy alignment in the agricultural space, particularly to strengthen the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation. Osun State House of Assembly has passed the bill amending some sections of the state local government law. The bill, titled Osun State Local Government Amendment Number 2 Bill 2026, was passed after the third reading at the Assembly's plenary in Osogbo, the state capital. Meanwhile, the Assembly's Committee Chairman on Public Accounts, Lawal Bamidele, had earlier presented and submitted the committee's reports on the bill with intended recommendations. The Adamawa State House of Assembly has passed a bill for a law to provide for social protection. The social protection bill, sponsored by the Assembly's Majority Leader, Kate Raymond Mamuno, provides for coordinated interventions for vulnerable populations, including the physically challenged, the unemployed, the aged, widows, and the sick. The bill, developed with support from the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development through GIZ Nigeria and the European Union under the SEPIN-SUSI program, aims to strengthen social protection by enabling government support for disadvantaged residents and improving their quality of life. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has predicted dust haze and cloudiness from Monday to Wednesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook released envisaged slight dust haze on Monday across the northern region throughout the forecast period. NIMET says few states such as Borno and Yobe are to experience moderate dust haze with horizontal visibility ranging from 2 kilometers to 5 kilometers during the forecast period. This is Global Television, and you are watching the live broadcast of the AM News. The news continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Great to have you with us. Have you stepped outside early in the morning lately? If you have, you probably noticed the chill across the northern Nigeria, especially late at night and in the early hours. That cold feel isn't just your imagination. It's largely due to the Harmattan dust haze currently dominating the region. And here's something to think about. What happens when more dust move in? Well, the satellite imagery shows a fresh surge of dust heading into the country. And as we move into Tuesday, when this new dust combined with what's already in the atmosphere, we're expecting even thicker haze and further reduction in visibility. If you are in the northeast, including residents of Kano, Katsina, and Dutse, expect visibility to drop to 1,000 meters or even less. That means shorter sight distance on the roads and at airports. Other parts of the northwest, including the central cities, will experience moderate dust haze. Now, what about the southern cities? Expect hazy conditions with patches of cloud cover. There is also a slim chance of thunderstorms later in the day over parts of Ogun, Ondo, Lagos, Bayelsa, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers State. So you may want to keep an umbrella nearby just in case. So if you're flying or operating flights in the northern region, be sure to consult the NIMET eFlight Folder portal for the latest updates. And if you're sensitive to dust, don't forget your nose masks before stepping out. I am Akami Samarda, and thank you for watching.
We appreciate you for staying with us. This second part of this news broadcast now returns with business. President Bola Tinubu has approved the payment of 2.8 trillion naira to power generation companies as the federal government's verified electricity subsidy debt dating back to 2010, rejecting the 6 trillion naira claim submitted by the generation companies. The decision followed months of negotiations and a tripartite audit involving the Ministry of Finance, Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, as well as the generation companies. The president insisted that no payment would be made beyond the audited figure amid concerns over inflated claims and accusations from the Nigeria Labour Congress for an attempted heist on public funds. In the meantime, the Association of Power Generation Companies has categorically rejected claims by presidency sources suggesting that 2.8 trillion naira represents a newly verified and final settlement of legacy debts owed to electricity generation companies, describing the claim as inaccurate and misleading. In a statement titled APGC Position on Misleading Reports Regarding Genco's Debt Reconciliation, Chief Executive Officer of the association, Joy Ogaji, said the report did not reflect the outcome of any officially concluded reconciliation process, urging those behind the claim to make public the basis of their computation. Ogaji further explained that the outstanding obligations arose strictly from bilateral commercial agreements executed within the framework of the Nigerian electricity supply industry. Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has issued a safety advisory warning residents to maintain a safe distance from live electrical wires and to avoid touching anyone in contact with electricity. In a public statement on its X handle, the Commission emphasized that electricity is extremely dangerous and that attempting to rescue someone without proper precautions could result in additional injuries or fatalities. The Commission urged residents to act responsibly and allow trained personnel to handle electrical emergencies, noting that following these steps could save lives and prevent further accidents. Director General of the National Pension Commission, Omolola Oloworaro, has identified Nigeria's informal sector as a major opportunity for pension expansion and domestic capital mobilization, noting that millions of workers remain excluded from retirement savings despite their economic relevance. The DG stated that pension reform over the past 2 decades has delivered measurable gains but has largely benefited formal sector workers, leaving a significant coverage gap across Nigeria's labor market. The Commission expects the initiative to drive deeper pension penetration across underserved segments while transforming informal earnings into structured long-term savings capable of supporting national investment priorities. Let's advance to the foreign scene now. Canada has revised its study permit policy, reducing the validity period granted to international students who must complete preparatory courses before beginning longer academic programs. This is according to updated guidance issued to immigration officers by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. Prerequisite courses are like pre-degree or master's programs you must complete before you're allowed to start your main course of study in Canada. The United Nations has warned that the rule of force is spreading as the powerful trample on international law and wield artificial intelligence, AI, and other technologies to attack human rights. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says at the opening of the UN Human Rights Council's annual session in Geneva that the rule of law is being outmuscled by the rule of force. Zarao Nasiru has details for us.
The UN Secretary General stressed that this assault is not coming from the shadows or by surprise. It is happening in plain sight and often led by those who hold the greatest power. Guterres also highlighted the blatant violations of human rights, human dignity, and international law in the occupied Palestinian territory.
Human rights are under a full-scale attack around the world. The rule of law is being outmuscled by the rule of force. And this assault is not coming from the shadows or by surprise. It is happening in plain sight and often led by those who hold the greatest power. Around the world, human rights are being pushed back deliberately, strategically, and sometimes proudly. Tomorrow, I should address the Security Council on the 4th anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, where more than 50,000 civilians have been killed. It is more than past time to end the bloodshed. I began this month speaking to the Committee on the Exercise of the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People about blatant violations of human rights, human dignity, and international law in the occupied Palestinian territory. The current trajectory is stark, clear, and purposeful. The two-state solution is being stripped away in broad daylight. The international community cannot allow this to happen.
He charged that the trajectory in the conflict territories under Israeli occupation is stark, clear, and purposeful, as the two-state solution is being stripped away in broad daylight. Zahra Unasr reporting for Global TV.
We appreciate your reporting, Raul. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has warned that his country would be forced to strike back at the United States' interests in the Middle East in response to any renewed attack. He insisted that Iran has a right to continued uranium enrichment for civilian purposes.
Speaking during an interview, the Prime Minister said there is now what he called a good chance that talks with the U.S. negotiators would head off renewed military strikes, stating that such a scenario presents Tehran no other option than to retaliate.
If they want to find a resolution for Iran's peaceful nuclear program, the only way is diplomacy. And we have proved this in the past, and I believe that still there is a good chance to have a diplomatic solution which is based on a win-win game, and a solution is at our reach. So there is no need for any military build-up, and military build-up cannot help it and cannot pressurize us.
Last year, in response to strikes by Washington on its nuclear facilities, Iran fired missiles at the U.S. airbase at Al Udeid in Qatar. After a recent round of talks in Geneva, Switzerland, Iran said it is preparing a draft proposal for an agreement which would be ready in a matter of days.
Let's take a look at sports for you now. FIFA has released the full March schedule for the FIFA Series 2026, the expanded edition of its international friendly tournament that will bring together 48 national teams from all 6 confederations. The fixtures published on the association's website are scheduled for the March and April 2026 international match window. 12 groups of 4 teams each, 9 men's groups and 3 women's groups will compete, hosted by 11 FIFA member associations. Elsewhere, FIFA has proposed a new rule that would require players who receive on-field medical treatment to remain off the pitch for at least 1 minute as part of efforts to reduce time wasting and improve the flow of matches. The proposal is expected to be discussed at the annual general meeting of the International Football Association Board, the body responsible for the laws of the game, and if approved, the measure would be incorporated into football's global rulebook. At present, the laws of the game do not specify a mandatory period that injured players must stay off the field after treatment. Domestic competitions are allowed to implement their own guidelines. UEFA has announced the provisional 1-match suspension of Benfica player Gianluca Prestiani following his altercation with Real Madrid winger Vinicius in the first leg of their Champions League round of 16 playoff tie last week. This comes after Vinicius alleged that Prestiani racially abused him during the encounter in Portugal. This implies that Prestiani will not play the Champions League playoffs return leg at Real Madrid this week as investigations continue regarding the alleged racism from the Argentine. And that's all we have for you here on the AM News. Thank you for watching. We'd like to remind you that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, Star Times, channel 276, as well as across all social media platforms where you can subscribe, interact, and engage with us. I'm Uyag Mofwe. We appreciate your time with us on the AM News. Starting shortly is Global Morning.